What's up, family? Get this video a big thumbs up if you get some value from this video, which is the ultimate goal. And we just here to have a conversation and let down your thoughts down in the comments as I let down my thoughts and perspective, insights, and commentary, of course. But however, we're going to dive into the Mike Brown situation. I've been seeing a couple content creators basically give their input on it. I've been seeing a lot of drama around it. And I can't say that it's necessarily bad, but it brings light to a certain perspective that I want to bring to you guys and have a conversation when it comes to coaches across the league. In this case, and to be more specific, the NBA. So Mike Brown situation, a story that stirred up plenty of buzz recently. New details have emerged, right? Thanks to Lou Williams, as you guys see on the screen, and his connections throughout the league, shedding light on the events that led to the Sacramento's decision to part ways with Coach Mike Brown. Now, keep in mind, Brown had just signed a 3-year extension through 2027. With the team sitting at 13-18, so they won 13, lost 18, his dismissal caught many off guard. After all, Brown is known as one of the NBA's good guys, right? An old school coach who holds his players accountable, right? And now we live in a day and age where people are very much less accountable on what's right is wrong. I mean, what's wrong is right and what's right is wrong. And he's been very vocal about pushing players like stars like DeAaron Fox to elevate their game while advocating fiercely for young players like Keegan Murray. But sometimes accountability rubs players the wrong way. You know, this is not a generation like when it was Kevin Garnett, Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Shaq. This is not a league. I call this league a league, or I call it like a Care Bear league. You know what I'm saying? The soft is my point, right? Let's be more specific. But Lou Williams is hearing about why Sacramento made this move, right? And I want you guys to hear Lou Williams' insight on it. Check it out.
But from what I understand, it just ran its course very fast and surprisingly. This was a team who we all had and still have high hopes for, and they fell short of those expectations under his leadership. And that happens, and that's no slight to his pedigree as a coach. Players get traded for a lack of a fit. Coaches aren't immune to that. So I'm hearing there was just some pushback from how DeAaron Fox was continuously being singled out, whether it was publicly or behind the scenes, or the players just didn't agree with that sentiment. Or, I was even hearing whispers that there was a situation where he might have asked, or suggested that even Demar Derozan come off the bench, and those things proved to be severe missteps in an already challenging season, where it put the front office in a position where they had to side with either the all-star talent they had or to part ways with their former coach of the year, who had a brand new 3-year extension. And ultimately they chose to go with the players. And that made Mike Brown a casualty of that. Could they have handled it differently the way that he was fired? That's not my call to make. A lot of coaches and a lot of different people are coming out in support of how it was handled. But this was just a classic example of, a coach losing the locker room and not being on the same page with his players. And, at the end of the day, the players were, who management chose to side with.
Yeah. And
Okay, family. So my question to you is, do you feel like this league, the NBA, caters more to the player rather than focus on the game, which is surrounded around the business of the game? Because a lot of people are saying, and I'm hearing a lot of people say that the NBA is boring now, right? And you have individuals like LeBron, you have individuals like now the De'Aaron Fox. Do you feel like they cater so much to the players, and the players are so spoiled to the point where they're not even competitive in the game, but they get front loaded all these things, all boatloads of money to basically perform because they still have a job to do, right? To entertain and actually put on a show for consumers, which is we the people who puts butts in seats. So according to Lou situation, or Lou Williams, I should say, when it came to Mike Brown's situation, basically he's saying the tenure has basically ran its course faster than expected. And this was a team with high hopes coming into the season, right? But they fell short under his leadership, and that happens. Coaches, like players, sometimes aren't the right fit. However, there were two key moments, though, that seemed to have sealed Brown's fate. right? Public criticism of De'Aaron Fox. Fox, the team star, was reportedly unhappy with how often Brown singled him out, both publicly and behind closed doors. Second, the Demar Derozan bench suggestion, right? Rumor has it Brown suggested that the veteran DeRozan come off the bench, while potentially a strategic move to boost the team's offensive depth. It was viewed as a misstep, especially by players who might seem this disrespectful. Ultimately, the Kings front office sided with All-Star, right? Unfortunate reality in today's NBA. Now, the challenges of winning Coach of the Year, as I want to get into a little bit, winning Coach of the Year can be a double-edged sword. Brown won it last year, Coach Mike Brown, because he overachieved with this roster, exceeding expectations, but that success raised the bar unrealistically high for the following season. This year, opponents were caught off guard, and the roster didn't improve significantly. As a result, the Kings struggled, right, to replicate the last season's success, and Mike Brown took the fall. So let's look at Sacramento Kings' deeper problems. Mike Brown's firing feels less like a coaching issue, in my opinion, and more like a reflection of deep organizational problems. But however, I want you guys to check out this next video in regards to Mike Brown and his public criticism towards De'Aaron Fox that I have mentioned.
I love it, but I'm going to challenge you, De'Aaron Fox. You got to figure out how to get to that level without having somebody piss you off, because you're a great player, and great players get to that level on their own, whether it's finding somebody to piss them off or finding something else. Maybe there's a 5-year-old kid that has an opponent's jersey on and not yours. That should piss you off.
There's nothing you guys can do, right, as a team you're on your end.
What's that?
There's nothing you guys can do, coach, teammates on you guys.
There's some things that we could do.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue to try to do it.
Okay.
But as a great player, you got to take that upon yourself more than worry about other things. Now, if other things come along, great.
Yeah.
But you got to figure that out.
When you
I
actually respect Coach Mike Brown more for this, because the simple fact, I feel like the league has got so soft that they call it public scrutiny, right? I don't think it's public scrutiny. I think it's a coach expressing his frustrations as he's trying to get through to one of his star players, how important and how very much engaged and how very much ambitious he is to believe in his player and holding him accountable, right? And me playing basketball and, growing up and playing basketball as a kid, my mom put me in basketball when I was about like a young buck, right? Like 6'5", 6'7", 5. And shaming works, right? I would rather, and this is a question I have for you guys. Would you rather a coach push you and elevate you to greater heights, like a Phil Jackson and Kobe Bryant and a Phil Jackson and a Michael Jordan, because they know your weaknesses and they use your weaknesses to eventually strengthen them while working at your strengths? So they push you to constantly be uncomfortable because you eat what you kill in this league of basketball. And the one who dominates win, and may the most that dominate the game, may the winner win, right? It's winners and losers. There's only two things of it. So at the end of the day, would you rather a coach that care about you and see potential in you, but also hold you accountable for you to elevate, or sit there and just let you sink and fall into your own demise? I'll go with a coach that makes me elevate. Comment down below, family. But what I'm trying to say is, I feel like because he's an old school coach. So I feel like it's more or less than a coaching issue and an organization problem, because since the Rick Elderman era, the Kings have struggled to build a substantial culture of success. A quick coaching change might not fix the systematic issues. However, it may just be the overall, sentiment of the players, right? Shaming works in this case, right? And shaming is not necessarily bad, but it's to show that at the end of the day, it's competitiveness. You're either going to be complacent and not hold yourself accountable, and you're going to move along, and someone's going to take your position. There's always someone out there hungrier than you. And I feel like Mike Brown didn't say anything bad, but just look, I believe in you, but look, you want to be pissed off, about me holding you accountable, you should be more furious and elevating it as a person and within your game. And I believe in you, right? And that said, Brown was one of the few stable aspects, in my opinion, of the franchise. He helped Fox play the most meaningful basketball of his career. And I seen him go off before I stopped watching it this year because I seen DeAaron Fox play last year. I haven't watched the NBA this year because I just have no interest. But even if Brown was demanding and critical, he has also fiercely defended Fox in the media, whether about officiating or other challenges, right? Went for the bat for his team. You know what I'm saying? So, and as for DeRozan's role and the veteran dilemma, as we all know, he came from the Toronto Raptors and all that other stuff. As for DeRozan, if Brown suggests he come off the bench, it wasn't without merit to me. At this stage of his career, transitioning to a 6-man role could be a strategic way to add punch to the second unit. Other stars like Carmelo Anthony initially resisted similar moves, but in the long run, it's often what's best for them, right? But I want you guys to check out another segment in regards of them talking about, individuals and the sentiment around the league and how the shockwaves was so enormous that it shocked many individuals throughout the NBA with Coach Mike Brown being fired. Check out this video.
Check this out. Joe Mazzulla's not going to win Coach of the Year. Why? They got a good team. Boston's supposed to win. Mark Daigneault, OKC, not going to win Coach of the Year.
He won last year.
Yeah, but he got a good team.
Yeah.
Supposed to win. When you win Coach of the Year, that means you overachieve with your team. You're not supposed to do that well. So when you win it, you basically coach these guys up to a level that they really are not. So now you turn around the following year and you want to say, because you were Coach of the Year and the team got to here, y'all should be here. No, you just was able to do an unbelievable job. And let's be honest, maybe some teams you play certain nights, the best player didn't play. You got some breaks that way. The season will kind of even out. So you win Coach of the Year because you exceed expectations, right? Now, the next year, people think you're supposed to do better, but your roster didn't change. You didn't get better. You didn't add anything. And you overachieved. And now this year, you're not surprising anyone. Everybody's ready for you. They're game planning for you. So I just think sometimes when coaches win the Coach of the Year, owners and general managers don't look at it from a standpoint that this guy really did a really good job. He overachieved. But I think what they do, they sit back and say, yeah, we got a good team. Look at the team I gave you. And then, but in reality, all the people that said this just really know that team wasn't that good. That coach and those players just kind of overachieved.
And I look at it right now, Sam. They're 4 games out of the 8th spot. Yep. But we have play-ins. If they could have got to the play-in, you never know what can happen.
Playing 10 spots. So yes, they 4 from the 8.
That's what I said. They
right
2 or 3 from the 10th spot.
And you have to remember, we're only 31 games. Well, yes. 13 and 18, they're only 31 games into the regular season.
Exactly. We didn't even get to the playoffs. But Mike Brown isn't a coach you can easily wow with talent, right? He coached the likes of LeBron James, so he knows how to challenge players, even stars. And for Fox or anyone else had a hand in this decision, they should remember that Brown's criticism came from a place of wanting them to reach their full potential, is my point, right? And looking ahead, the Kings need more than just a coaching change from the front office to the roster. Because if they could easily push this guy out who is for the team and his players reaching the full potential and exceeding expectations, and the owners of the team, in this case the Sacramento Kings, are so unrealistic about the approach of measuring the success and the goals of how far this team should grow and keeping it in the right trajectory, well, you got bigger things to worry about, folks. That's just my opinion. And from the front office to the roster, this organization has to embrace long-term, meaningful change to break their cycle of mediocrity. And that's all for now. Let me know you guys' thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, folks, for more in-depth NBA coverage. Until next time, family, spread that peace, love, and positivity, and let the love supersede the hate. Next time, folks, peace.